Well, hey, welcome back today. It's all arriving, I swear, I promise. Another live stream, another day, another week, right? I told myself I wasn't going to do these weekly, but they're kind of happening weekly, so I apologize to everybody for that, for doing these weekly. I'm not the most exciting guy in the world, but hopefully this is a good community building exercise where you guys see a little bit of what I'm doing, we talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, we throw out questions, we get answers, we get all that type of stuff. So for the people watching this as a recording as opposed to live, it's much more fun to do it live, and I think people will show in the comments that. Yeah, so just to cap off what we're going to do today is I got a really nice package in the mail from a viewer, and somebody I definitely would consider a friend even before this happened, very special to me. So I want to go over that, maybe even go into that a little bit more in depth. I am thinking about putting my kinematics bed back on my printer and doing some more CNC tap testing. Again, you guys are going to drive this show a little bit when it comes to that. I have a few emails and a few other things from viewers and members. And by the way, I am monetized now, so if you do want to become a member, head over to the channel. There's a membership button. I'd love to have you. You don't have to do that, but it's something that's out there. But anyways, I got a member, a new member, Joe, who had a bunch of questions and suggestions of things that I talk about as well, because I really like to draw in my friends. You guys are my friends, right? Through extension, through YouTube, through our like of this type of hobby, and hopefully through personality types, right? I do believe that the more that people know other people, the less fighting and hate there will be. So let's look and see who's here right now so I can give quick shout outs, or shout outs I should say. I got 7 Bravo Pro, caught it live tonight, assuming you normally don't, but I think you'll have much more fun here live as opposed to the view. I got Rich over at the First Layer. Rich is a very good friend of mine. I really enjoy Rich. And then go ahead, and if this is coming through, it looks like it's coming through, but my audio and everything's good, just give me a thumbs up or let me know. I don't want to go 20 minutes into this and have you guys watching me mime the whole thing. Yeah, so let's see here. Steve's here. Great to see you, Steve. Let's see, a thumbs up from Steven. Awesome. Let's see, Ten Holt. Let's see here, and Nuno is here. Nuno is always here, I think. Great to see you again, Nuno. Let's see here. I got Michael, that's awesome. Yeah, so we got a little group of people here, and if you haven't thrown anything up in the chat yet, feel free, go ahead and say hello to the group, say hello. Everybody will probably say hello back to you. It's a good way to kind of see some other people that you might see either on Discords or on other YouTube live streams and stuff like that. Again, it's a group exercise, right? We're all friends, so. Yeah, so Collie, you got a yo from Collie, so yo, I'll back out to you. By the way, I can't always tell if you're male or female in the chats, and I don't need you to tell me that, nor do I want to hear that you want to be called this, that, or the other thing. But if I do get something wrong, don't take it as being an offensive thing. The last thing I want to do is offend anybody. So if it does bother you or something like that, just call me out on it. Just say, hey, by the way, I'm a woman, or I'm a guy, or whatever, you know, because it doesn't really matter to me. It's this that we do that matters. So before we get too deep into this today, I want to talk about this package I got in the mail. And this actually came from Woody, and I'm sure you guys have seen Woody a lot of times and stuff. Hey, Mark Davis is here, and Robert, or Rumba, yo. Rumba, which is Robert, told me how he got that name. It was kind of an interesting story, and it has to do with a positive speech impediment of a child. So we'll say it at that. Nick, hey, and hello to everyone. Hello back to you, Nick, from everyone. And everybody, feel free to talk to each other too, right? So if somebody's saying hey to the group, say hey back, you know? And I will make quick mention right here, the 2 people that just actually said hellos out here, Mark Davis and Rumba, or Robert, are both members. I can tell because they have that wonderful BIB logo, or the BB logo, after their names. So thank you, and I really do appreciate that. It helps me to kind of buy some things around here to show more people more stuff, right? So anyways, yeah, getting back into this real quick, I want to go over what Woody had sent me in the mail. I don't quite know how Woody got my address, but there again, it's the 2020s here, and it's not very hard to find people if you really want to. So we're all kind of in the public eye these days, so that's fine with me. Whatever, right? So let me switch cameras here real quick, and I'll show you what I got in the mail. And I had to kind of figure out what the heck it was. So you guys should probably tell what this is. This wasn't around, so don't look at that. But this is what I got in the mail. I got these printed pieces, which I am told. Whoop, put them over here because they're behind the chat. If I put them over there, I am told these are the very first printed pieces that came off of Woody's printer. Woody followed along with us, or with me, us in general. Let's see here. I thought I had one with my smiling face on it too. Right here. Yeah, we lose the chat when I do that. All right. I'd rather have the chat than have my face on it. So anyway, Woody followed along. He was building a Voron 2.4 350, and these are the first parts that he printed. And he was very nice to send me this kit. And let's see if anybody over here can tell me what it is. Hey, Ron is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ron. Incredible DIY. Hello. Did you verify there isn't someone peeking through your windows sitting in a tree? Well, I'm in a basement, and there are absolutely no windows in here. So I'm not overly concerned about anybody peeking in at me right now, but everybody is upstairs, so if you can tell me what they're watching on TV, then you will definitely be scaring me. No, I don't, yeah. That's funny though. Yeah. Let's see, the first year born. All right, so anybody have any idea what this stuff is? Just looking to see if anybody knows without me telling you what it is. Before I stop putting this together, kind of showing you what it is. I'm sure somebody probably has some idea. And then actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to bring up on a separate screen so I can kind of read what he had written to me. Once I kind of, well, actually, I'll read what I wrote to him. It's plastic. Yes, it is plastic. However, this extrusion is made of metal. So, and there's a box of goodies here. Maybe we'll pull these goodies out. Look, we got some guide wheels here. We get a package of goodies here to put stuff together, and then some more hardware here. Let's see if anybody's got it yet. Yes, thank you, Rich. Press for inserts, 10 Hulk, got it, 100%. Heat insert press, yes. Crafster, you have it too. Very good, very good. V-wheels, yes, those are V-wheels. So yes, it is the Adafruit heat set insert, or I call them heat certs just because I'm lazy, I guess, but I think it's a way better name for those things. So he knew, because we'd had conversations about, you know, me saying how easy it is to put them in. I don't really care or anything like that. But he felt that it really saved him a bunch of time, and he felt that his heat certs went in very well. I've never had one go in so cockeyed that it didn't work. But he sent me this kit that he had printed off, again, some of the very first prints on his printer. And I got to tell you, looking at these, he did a very good job printing or building his printer. And these prints are very nice. He's got very nice layer heights, no, you know, basically no, he's got a Z-seam here, but that's more in the slicer, which he's still working out. But you know what, a Z-seam on a part like this doesn't really make that much of a difference. No real big layer shifts or anything like that. His top surfaces are very, very nice. And so I gotta give a lot of props to Woody for not only sending this to me, which I give him big thanks for, but also at the quality of the parts that he printed, because this is very, very nice, especially for somebody that's never had a printer before and built their first Voron. That being said, I just want to say what happened is, let's see here, where was it? So I wrote to Woody. Let me switch this camera back over so you guys can see me here. So I wrote to Woody when I got this package. I'd thrown away the box, but I think a friend of mine slightly south of me may have sent me a gift package in the mail. Whomever it was, looks like they're doing some very decent printing, but I'm puzzled as to what I'm putting together. Seems like a heat cert guide tool. And I wrote, aha, I figured it out. And basically I wrote, it threw me a curveball. Wow, I'm very humbled. Woody, you really shouldn't have. Really happy that you're able to have your printer up and running to create things for friends, family, and community. I have to, let's see here. I'm heating up a bed, recording tomorrow, and I will mention this. And again, this weekend when I do live stream, thank you so very much. He wrote back to me, was the same day or later. He's a night owl. Very first print quality guy who helped for the quality guy who helped me on my journey so far. I'm very grateful and thought I would make this for you. So I decided to make you. Let's see. I was very grateful and thought you would never make this for yourself, so I decided to make one for you and source the parts and send it to you. And he sent me the instructions. So yeah, you know, Woody's not here this evening, or at least he shouldn't be, because he's also celebrating his 45th wedding anniversary today. So if, even though he's not here, if you guys have some well wishes for him and his wife, feel free to throw them up in the chat. I'm sure he will catch this, and I would appreciate everybody, you know, kind of throwing that out there, because I guess in the back of it all, this is exactly what a community does. They help each other out, right? So I'm going to set these parts aside real quick and look at the chat. And let's see here. 3D printing parts. Yes, heat. Yes, we got that. We're there. V-wheels. I think it's an extruder. No, it's a heat sert insert for definite there. Let's see here. And Jessica Bollier, that's my wife. She's watching on the big screen. They are watching me on the TV upstairs. Let's see here. Not linear rails or 440 extrusions. 1D printer parts. That would be a CNC machine, kind of, sort of 1D. I don't even know what that would be. A pencil? Let's see here. Michael, I was so scared about doing heat inserts 3 months ago, but after the build, they seem no big deal now, but press would be even nice, still be nice. Yes, congrats, Woody. Thank you for that, Robert. Very cool. Yes, Mark, I agree. Very cool for Woody to do that. And a bunch of congratulations. Congratulations out there for Woody. Let's see here. Yep. And Skyrim's here. So Skyrim, I'm glad you showed up, because I got to talk to you, and this is kind of a good venue to have that conversation, because I feel you're struggling a little bit. So we'll talk about the problem you're having here very soon. Let's see here. Nick, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to set these parts aside. I'm actually going to throw them back in the box real quick. I think what I'm going to do is, I mean, if I run short on content during this video, I guess maybe I'll put it together during this stream. But I think you guys all know what a heat cert tool does and what it looks like. And if you don't, you can Google it real quick and kind of get a really good, quick idea of that. So there's that. I do want to show you guys this real quick, though. This is, I can't remember to use the right camera. This is the soldering iron I bought, which no big deal there. It was relatively cheap. I think it was like 10 bucks on Amazon. But I found these when I was looking for the soldering iron. I thought these are kind of cool. If you're like me, and like most people, I think, we all have this type of heat cert tool to insert our heat inserts, that, or you just used a blunt tip soldering iron type thing. So I found in my searchings this kit right here, and basically what this does is this replaces the inside of the bottom section of your soldering iron where your tip holder normally would go, and then that sits in there permanently. For this setup, it's going to be permanently in there, and then you have a threaded heat set brass piece that you put in there like that, and these come in different sizes. I got everything up to like an M, I don't even know what that is, an M8 maybe? I don't know. That's huge. It looks like an M5. This does an M3 and a 2.5, and then I have one here that does, I think it's another M3. It does that one's an M3 and an M4. But anyways, it has all of them in here. 99% of the time you're gonna run into M3s, maybe an M5 once in a while. But I thought that was a cool kit. Found that on Amazon, and it was 10 bucks. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll throw it in the description later, but I did want to show you that. So there's that. Okay. Let's see here. Change LTX light. Is that hard to do? Or is there no point in doing it? That's an opinion type question. So LGX light on a Voron 0.1. Let me ask you one question first, and that question is the extruder currently working for you, or are you having issues with it? If you're having issues with your extruder, it's definitely worth looking at an upgrade. An LGX light is kind of large, comparably to the mini afterburner and the clockwork that's on, or I forget what it's even called. Is it called mini clockwork? That's on a Voron 0.1. I have a Sherpa Mini on my, I probably would think about a Sherpa. That's not a bad idea. Let's see here. Printing parts now for my Trident to rebuild the .1 to a .2 with a Mini Stealth Sherpa, CNC Sherpa Micro. That's a lot of words. Speaking of Trident, and actually a Trident, I'm thinking about possibly building a Trident, one of my next printers I build. I really like to build a Trident. I think it looks like a fun build. Let's see here. I just got the set last week. I just got that set last week. Used it today. Worth the money. It's not that expensive. I agree. Good. Awesome. No issues with it, I suppose. There's not a lot that can go wrong, right? Let's see. Orbiter 2 currently on my 0.2, but I'm not using the Mini Stealth. Orbiter 2s also. See, these are all very good extruders. I think all of them are probably slightly higher quality than what comes factory stock on the 0.1 or .2. Yeah, I think your mileage will vary based on how well you put together that. The extruder is actually one of the most difficult parts to put together on a printer because there's a lot of motion happening in that little area, and it does need to be relatively precise. You know, you really got to take your time and do that. If you want to put an aftermarket part in there that's kind of manufactured, sometimes that helps out quite a bit if you're having troubles. Let's see here. I have to look that up. Didn't know much about the Sherpa. My favorite Ford is. Let's see. Builds for stock. Looking for my Trident or anything. Obviously, I want. Well, what size? So if I build a Trident, I think was it a 240? I don't want it too big. I just want to go with a standard size. There's only one thing I'd want to print that would require a 350, and that is the Nevermore Max. But Nevermore has now designed a new unit that doesn't require such a large filter in the back, but still has 90%, well, not maybe 90, but 75-80% of the same capabilities. I forget what it's called right now, but I'm sure somebody will pop it in if they've seen it. Other than that, I've really never had anything that I wanted to really print that's that big. I'm not printing, you know, life-size things normally, but that would, yeah, I got the printer behind me. I keep looking at it like it's going to do something. Yeah, Trident is a workhorse. I agree with that. Yeah. All right, I can take a quick drink right here, and I'm gonna I can't talk. I'm gonna jump into that email with some questions and jump into a comment that also had some information in it from some of you folks, and we'll go from there. All right, let me get that email open. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find that email real quick. I apologize for the delay. Whoa, that's my own stream. Don't do that. Let's see here. All right. So this is from Robert. Rob, this is a comment, and I already read it once, but I kind of want to throw it out there so I can kind of chat about a couple things in it. I'm not going to get to everything that you had in this, but basically you had a bunch of stuff here, and I think it's worth bringing it up. And if you're interested in it, there's a good chance there's other people interested in these things too. First and foremost, what is your obsession with the beacon? It's a neat device. and it looks pretty cool, but I got to tell you, and I've said it before, I don't know what the value is of 3D printing. I will at some point probably test one just to see, but you know, you only need so many points on that printer bed. I don't need a full, you know, 400 DPI scan of the surface of the bed, because it's really not going to help my prints much. But nonetheless, you're gonna put your other stuff in here, but I figured I'd throw that out first. Maybe when we're doing the other printer, and I'll be way late to the game. I'm not usually the first guy to put anything in. You know, I might be the first guy to put a video out about it if it's something that's kind of small and a lot of people aren't doing it, but it really piqued my interest. But I'm not a bandwagon jumper type person when it comes to some of this stuff, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm not going to you know, for the most part, I pay for everything I get, you know, for 99% of everything. Some, you know, you guys do help out somewhat for some of that stuff. So when I buy something, I have to see a value in it before I do it. You know, some of the things some of the money I get from other people allow me to buy some things I normally wouldn't necessarily get, and kind of bring it up because people are asking for those types of things. I'm trying to think of something in particular lately that was. I can't think of anything really. Most everything I buy, it's out of my own pocket. So anyway, so let's see here. Any sort of CL tap update? How consistent has it been? How about a long-term eval? So the CNC update, the Chaotic Labs update is basically, it seems to be working really well. Pretty soon here, I'm going to probably bring my 2.4 back over, and while we're chatting, I'm going to be putting my Kinematics bed back on here, because I think this is the final step in finalizing this printer, is putting that bed back on, because if you've been watching, you know I took off my Kinematics bed because I wanted to test out the tap versus the CNC tap and kind of get, you know, straight raw numbers that aren't influenced by having a third device in there, which would have been the Kinematics bed. I think everybody knows, if you've seen the videos, and if you haven't seen the videos, that the front right corner of the Mandela Rose kinematic bed is prone to tipping when it gets enough pressure on the bed. I don't think it's an issue during normal printing, but it could have been an issue doing testing. So we're going to do testing today, or I don't know if I'm going to get to it, but one of the next things I'm going to do is testing with that to see if indeed the CNC tap works well with the kinematics. So we'll have that, and then long term, obviously, we'll keep that up. This is going to become my workhorse. I'm going to be printing all of my parts for my rebuild of my other 2.4, which is going to have a few things in it that didn't, you know, make it to this particular printer. It's going to have the CAN bus on it. It's going to have a bunch of other stuff, and I don't want to get into it right now because it will take a bunch of time, but that should be pretty fun. It's probably going to be a late summer build, but tearing it apart will be over the course of the next, you know, few weeks or so coming up. We're going to go over the parts that are worn out and broken. We're going to go over the parts that need, you know, some maintenance on them, and then talk about the difference between the 2.4 and the R2 version 2.4, because I just built an R2 and it's been a while since I built the normal one, so I'll definitely see some issues there and some differences there. So the Rama idlers things, let's see if I have that. I'm gonna step out of camera, not to make anybody angry. So I've touched on a very good point there. Let's see here. Are you still, yeah, Robert, you're still here, right? Yep, yeah, you're still there. So I would agree with your print it forward person that the Ramalada idlers, or the Rama idlers, can break. There is how they break right there. This one has been broken now for, I don't know, maybe a month or so. It was replaced already, but it did break. What I will say is this was the old version of them, and I can tell that because the set pins on it are pins, they're not conical. The new ones are conical. The updated version of these idlers, which there is an updated version, which are now on there, have not had that issue. These lasted approximately a year before they had any issue. I don't know, why they broke, other than just stress over time, but Yeah, so anyways, there's a new version of these. I wouldn't think it would be a bad thing to print them out of carbon fiber or polycarbonate carbon fiber, but the new ones I have on there right now are in Sparta ABS, and they seem to be holding up pretty decently. So yes, the person that printed for it told you about that is 100% accurate, but I would say that I haven't had an issue with the new ones. I did have an issue with the old ones, but I like them enough not to not use them. So there's that. What else did you have in here? Mentioning long-term stuff about channels. Series. All right, so the rest of this pretty much is talking about my printer and suggested, the parts that I start off with. And I don't know if you hear that. Got an alert, my dog's leaving the house. I'm sure he's going for a walk. So we'll definitely talk about the printer more and where we end up with it in the end. That's probably not going to happen until it's 100% put together, which it pretty much is at this point. And I could have put this together 100%, but I've been pulling stuff apart and putting stuff back together just to do testing on other things, so I'd be able to show you guys that stuff. Okay, so let's see here. Where's the hard stuff? In the other room. He's drinking Windex. Yeah, it's the ammonia in the Windex that cleans out the kidneys. It's not bad. And that's not true, so I hopefully nobody takes that seriously. That is a joke. It's quick and should be accurate. Yes, 100 by 100 mesh in 1 minute. Yeah. So we talk about the beacon again. I agree. It's quick and it's actually super quick. It doesn't touch the surface. So one of the issues I do have with the beacon is the fact that it doesn't touch the surface, but it also isn't actually looking at the surface. It's much like an inductive probe. And I gotta be honest, I like inductive probes too, but it is looking at the metallic surface below whatever you're printing. So if using a glass bed or a mirrored bed or even a PEI sheet or a textured PEI sheet, that unit is looking at the metal below that. It's not looking at the actual top surface of the sheet. That's one of the reasons why I really liked the idea of the tap and the way that uses the nozzle to do that, because it's actually looking at the surface you're printing on. Let's see here. Makes sense. You have a big printer, use a full bed size often. Yeah, I guess. So if you're new to 3D printing and you've just built a printer, I want to give you one major warning. The more parts you put on that bed, if you have a 350 by 350, and I don't think this applies to you, but if you have a 350 by 350 and you're printing 35 parts on it and you have a failure, you're going to lose all 35 parts. So that 12-hour print or 14-hour print or whatever hour print it is out the window. If you have a 350 bed and you print 5 parts on it and it takes 45 minutes and you have a failure, you've lost 45 minutes at most. So even if you have such a big bed surface that you can print a lot more of the little stuff, I don't always suggest doing that. There's a bunch of reasons, one of them being just what I said. The other one being is beds tend to be hottest towards the middle. The last 2 inches around a bed tend to be cooler. So if you're printing plastics that require a heated bed or a elevated temperature heated bed, I strongly suggest stay away from the perimeter, the final inch or 2 away from your bed. So, but it's true. You can print more on a bigger and get stuff done quicker. Yes. Let's see here. Where is the updated version? The updated version is in the Ramalama Git. Let me go and grab that real quick. Let's see here. I thought it was here. Where is that? If I can find it quick, I will put it up. So here, copy, and here, paste. That is the Git for Ramalama 2, and you will see if you go into the Voron that these have been updated this year, not this year, but in the past 10 months or so. The ones I had in the other one were over a year old. These ones are about 10 months, give or take. And there's also some additional new things that he's done as well. I'm not going to look through and get them all, but there's a link to that if you're interested in that. New version is Nipple Fix version and Llama. Yes, yes. That is true. So the nipple fix version is basically the originals had pins in them, and the problem with the pins are that they sheared off easy. So he's gone to a conical version or a nipple version. So basically, as opposed to a pin, you have a conical, and it goes in and it self-centers. It's a good upgrade. Let's see here. It's not going to run out. Make sure the dog isn't running away with the fridge. Nope, he's not running away with the fridge. He might be running away with the cat, but I don't know if that would hurt my feelings. Let's see here. We just had to replace one idler. It was going to go with the Rama, but I couldn't source the parts. Went R2 idlers instead. Is it worth changing these when the parts come in? I never built the R2 idlers. I went right back to the Llama idlers. The reason why I did that, the original idlers that were on the Voron 2.4 had a single screw to adjust the tension on the belts, and that screw was actually through a solid piece of plastic. The problem is that it didn't have proper alignment of the belts. I think they fixed most of the alignment on the belts with the new version of them. However, the screw now that provides tension is going through a split piece of plastic, which to me didn't look like a good idea. I could be completely wrong, but that's my reasoning. Joe, hey Joe, I didn't talk about you much, but I did talk about you a little bit. Everybody say hello to Joe. Joe is joining us tonight. Joe is one of my channel members, and Joe actually Joe, maybe I'll embarrass Joe. I don't know if it's gonna embarrass Joe or not. I hope it doesn't embarrass Joe. But Joe, where is Joe? Here he is. I'll make sure I don't show your email or anything here, Joe, but let me open this image in a new tab. So Joe just received a huge order of parts. So Joe is building almost a copycat version of what I built. He got most of his parts from KB3D because there's a big KB3D logo in the middle of that. Chris actually sent me an email, or no, he sent me a message on Discord talking about you, Joe, and about the message you sent him about me, and I truly appreciate that. Chris appreciates it as well. I think Chris is a lot like me, only he's in the business, whereas I'm not really in the business. I'm just a hobbyist like most of the people here. But that's an awesome build. I can't wait to see what you wind up with there. Let's see here. I think the bacon in your Mandela bed would be a no-star bacon person, no-star, something to do with the magnets. Yes, I agree with that. That would be very difficult. I think the magnetic flux, that visual that you can get if you drop a little magnetic dust on a magnet would probably rain havoc all over a beacon, but I don't have a Mandela bed on the other printer. I probably will put one on there if the CNC tap works well with the bed, and actually I'm going to drag that over while I'm talking about that, because I do really like the kinematics bed, or I should say the mag bed, because even if I didn't do kinematics on the next one, I would probably still get the bed because it's just a beautiful, beautiful bed. And if you're here and you haven't seen it before, you'll probably see it at some point during this video. I'm going to drop this down with this. Yeah, so my butt look big in these jeans. So set up a camera over there today, and this probably looks weird. Wait, if I line this up just right, nope, I can't do it. I was gonna say it looked like I'm back talking, but so this is a good view of my workbench area. So this is the 2.4 that I've been testing on, working on, and whatnot. And this is the bed that we're talking about, and there are magnets in this bed right here. So the magnets in this bed are basically impregnated into this bed. They're as flush could be. The bed is as flat could be, and it's just a beautiful piece of workmanship that Mandela Rose does. So yeah. Let me see here. Let's agree printing a lot of parts like smaller. My Do large prints, yeah, mostly. Yeah, exactly, Mark. I've lost full beds of, especially when I first started doing prints with my first Voron 2.4. It doesn't take many times where if you lose a bed of, 30 parts that you decide, this probably isn't the best idea ever. Thanks version already. I have that version already. Okay, good, perfect. There's no new version as far as I know, but if you have that version, it should be good. Let's see. Bob, hey Bob. I didn't know you were in here. That's the first you mentioned. You're saying hello to Joe. No hello to me, but that's okay. Let's see. Staring at Joe during his embarrassing moment. Yes. Nice work order. Yes. Let's see here. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Yes. So, Joe, hope that wasn't embarrassing. That's a very, very good pickup that you have there, all that stuff. And I got to find your comment too. I don't remember if you sent me an email. Hey, what the heck are you doing here, Woody? Wait a second. You're not supposed to be here. You go back to your wife. You guys realize I'm talking to a 65-year-old man like he's a kid? I forget how old Woody is. Already been out and back. Well, I guess those early bird dinners are where it's at once you get to a certain age. Well, Woody, we're happy to see you. I was showing everybody what you had sent to me, and hopefully I came across with sentiment that I wanted it to, because I really did appreciate it. I did not build it yet. I didn't know you were going to show up, so I planned on building it in a separate video. I didn't want to do it during a live stream if you weren't going to be here for it, but I guess too late now. I'll still build a video for it, and you'll just get more credit next time we do it. See here, incredible DIY. As flat as flat can be. Did you check it with within a 0.001 of an inch? Actually, funny you ask. So, yes, I did. Does that answer a question? This bed is 0.0025 of an inch, and that's across the full surface. So it's very, 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 very flat. Or that's actually of a millimeter. So that's 0.0. What was it? Anyways, 0.00025 microns, I believe. Gotta send it back. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. You gotta pick your battle sometime. That's a battle I'm not gonna pick. I'd like to have a standard bed checked out to see what you came up with. I'm gonna bet that it would be much less good. We'll say that. All right, so I'm gonna switch over to overhead here, and I'm gonna keep talking to you guys. And Joe, at some point, if you could, I don't remember if you sent me those comments. Was that on the YouTube member channel, or was it via email? If you could throw up a message at some point, just so I can see that, because I can't recall where you did it, but you had some information in there that I want to talk about, some questions that were good. I also want to talk about, let's see, who was it? Who was my friend that was having issues? It was Skyrim. Skyrim, if you're still here, go ahead and throw me a message as well. I want to talk about your problem a little bit. Earlier when you were messaging me, I was actually at my son's basketball game, so I couldn't talk too much. But I guess I'll ask a few questions while I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and you guys can't even see that, so I'll do this. The few questions I want to ask you are, one, I know you're having trouble with one of your homing switches. Did you get that resolved? Two, is that your X or Y homing switch? Three, you will not be able to do a G28 with a bad switch. So what's going to happen there is, since the printer can't tell that you've closed or a state change has happened on your end stop switches, it will act like it never happened at all, because if it can't, that's the only way it can tell is whether or not it sees a state change on those switches. So the error that you were getting that you had showed me earlier, where it was telling you that you need to home first, that's because the printer can't tell that it was able to home, because to the printer, if it doesn't do those switches, it never homed, pretty much. So yeah, get that there. Let's take the bed, flip it on the side over here, and look at comments. See you don't, sorry, cylinder heads are like 0.001, so you're good. Good, member channel, thank you, Joe. I'm gonna get that opened up so I can look at. Mark, thank you for wishing Woody a happy 45th. Appreciate that. Woody's probably a little embarrassed. So we're like a big happy family. We like to embarrass each other sometimes. Not to an extreme, but just for fun, right? All right, let me get back to my, let me quickly get back into, well, let me switch my camera up too. Let me get back into my channel, and let's see here. That would have been on there, and community, and I think. Oh, let's see here. That's when we're talking about live streams that last multiple hours. That wasn't it. Where was that? Or was that it? Yeah, I guess that was it. Yes, okay, that is it. I'm gonna leave that up for me. I need to bring my chat screen back up though so I can see it, see what's going on. Central's homing's working fine for me, says Nick. Skyrim at Build It, all switchers are working. Okay, so you had an issue with your switches before, now they're all working. So what I would ask you to do is a G28 on your printer in the command line interface. And if you do that, you should get no error messages. Can you confirm that for me? Skyrim was having issues with getting a message that he must home his printer before doing XYZ. I don't know exactly what he was doing. But basically, you know, homing the printer, just for common knowledge, homing a printer is the only way the printer knows where the heck it is. If you don't home a printer, it doesn't know where it is. If it doesn't know where it is, it's Clipper's job to basically say, no bueno, you're not doing anything. And it does that to save it or save your printer from hurting itself. So it's kind of a safety net, if you will. You know, if you lose your eyesight, you don't run around the room unless you're familiar with not having eyesight. So yeah, let's put these over here. I thought I had a bin with these. Yes, over here. And let's see here. Switch is working. My sweet wife is one of these. Recognition 45 is a long time. She said like 60 earlier today. She said like, so what she said, it feels like she's been with you for 60? Or am I reading that wrong? Because your wife sounds like a funny lady. But, you know, you get to a certain point where there's nothing else you can do. All right. And that's your best boots you have, nutshell. Yes. I have it up on the screen there, Joe, and I'll talk about it. Because I think there's a couple different categories. I think there's definitely a category of tools that everybody should have before they start. I think and I'm gonna be doing stuff while I do this, and I will tell you right now, I am horrible at the do stuff while chatting thing, but I'm going to attempt to do it just so I can try to get some more stuff done while I'm doing this. Right now I'm just gonna clean some dust off of this. but yeah, there's definitely different categories there with tools. There's tools I think you should have before you build or even start building a printer. There are tools I think you should have to maintain your printer. And then there's nice to have tools. And then there's tools to have if you're going to be building multiple printers, or if you intend to make this kind of a long-term hobby and not just I wanted a 3D printer and I couldn't buy what I wanted, so I built one. And I'll talk about that in those terms here as we move through. Let's see. I built it. The problem again now is at start of print, toolhead keeps crashing into the end stop. It will not go to the center bed. Okay, so which end stop does it crash into? Your X or your Y? And if it's crashing into it, I'm assuming that that's when your belts are skipping, and basically it's actually activating the switch. If you open up your GUI, your web GUI, I assume you have Klipper. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but you should have a place where you can check your end stops to see if they're opened and closed before you do anything on the printer at all. Not have the printer do any movements at all. If you open up that window, or if you do a command, and I don't know off the top of my head if somebody has commands on the top of their head to check what the end stops currently are, throw them in. If not, there is a place in the GUI, and we can look at it in Fluid and in Mainsail if we need to. I can show you those. The dog's leaving again. What I would do is go into there or run that command, and then manually with your hands go ahead and see if you can make those end stops change state, because there's only a couple things that could be going wrong if you're crashing into your end stops. One is that your printer doesn't see the end stop properly. I know you're saying that they are working properly, but I can't really wrap my head around if the printer is actually seeing those end stops properly and seeing them as being end stops that would continue to move you into it, unless you have something majorly wrong with the software. I've just never seen that happen before. There goes the dog with the cat. Yes. Oh, maybe they're coming back. I think the cat may have came back and left the dog out. I think the cat's been eyeballing the dog for a while, and maybe the cat left the dog out in the woods. All the switches work. Okay, so you've tested those. So where you're basically stating, and then I want anybody to fill in some blanks here because I'm at a loss. What you're basically stating is the end stops work, the switches provide input to Klipper. They see state changes. State changes are visible in Klipper, but the printer continues to drive the stepper motors even after the state change happens on the end stop. And we're 100% sure that the X end stop is the X end stop, and the Y end stop is the Y end stop, and the Z end stop is the Z end stop, and none of them are confused or mixed up. If you want to confirm that, and if anybody has any ideas, throw them out there because I'm at a loss. All right, let me slide this over a little bit so we can see it. So I've taken off the bed, and I'm going to start putting this kinematics thing back together. The first thing I got to do actually has nothing to do with the printer, it has to do with the bed itself. But I will put the bed on the printer here so we can kind of see it. And that is reattaching the ball ends here on the printer bed so that it can ride on the kinematics mount. So I'm trying to remember what this did. This was like this. And let's see here. What kind of irons are we using? Here we go. All switches work. Where the gantry isn't hitting the end stop, sometimes something gets in the way and the end stop isn't triggered. That is true. That's actually something happened, Nick. That actually happened with my CNC tap. Excuse me. My voice is already starting to go here. I am horrible at doing long streams. But yeah, so that's something that happened with my CNC tap. I didn't realize that it didn't have alignment to actually hit the end stop. So there was a secondary part I had to print to actually do that. Otherwise, it came all the way to the end, went to where the end stop was and kind of looked at the end stop and said, hey, how you doing? But never actually touched it. So that's a good point. Let's see here. Might be hitting something before it gets to the end stop switch. If it's a new build, make sure the board connector number agrees with the printer. Yes. So what we're talking about there is that the pin that's defined in Klipper, which you should be able to test by doing that test I was talking about, where you activate your switches manually. If they come up properly, then that's kind of a surefire sign that those are set up properly. But yes, that is definitely something to look at. Make sure those end stops are in there properly. I seem to be missing a couple screws here. Let's see here, Skyra, if you haven't done the basic manually press each, yep, perfect. You guys come up with the same kind of answers I was coming up with. And it's really, I can't keep this on this like this. I gotta have my face on here or something, or else you guys are gonna completely lose your minds. Home access one at a time, yes. Also makes sense that they actually work too. Home X first and see if that goes well. That is true. I didn't mention that, but homing your X and Y separately. So basically homing X and seeing that works properly, and then homing Y and seeing that works properly is a very, very good mention. That's very good. And maybe Woody with the win on that one. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if Skyrim comes back with some info. He's been working hard trying to get that thing to go, and I'm starting to feel bad. Press it. Yep, that's exactly. Press it. Press it with your fingers. All right, so got one of these in. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna move my my third camera a little bit. So I'm out of frame. I know. I'm sorry, but you can still hear me because magic and all. I'm gonna put this right here. It might drive you nuts, but you'll be looking partially at my my recording setup. But then I can kind of talk to you at the same time, and you can see what I'm doing at the same time, which would be kind of nice, I think. So there we go. We'll see how that works. Have magnetic end stops, make sure they them in closed position. Yes. Yeah. All right, let's see if this works better. Yeah, there we go. That works a little bit better. Hopefully this isn't too disorienting. Yeah, so I'm putting the little nubbins here on the back of the printer, and these are the little mounts that go on for the kinematics. If you're not aware of what a kinematic system is, and you didn't see me put on originally, actually I'm putting them in the wrong holes already. I was not paying attention here. Basically, a kinematics mounting system allows your bed to expand and contract with the heat of when you heat up your printer, and it does that by allowing each of the mounting points to have a certain degree of movement they can have, and also a certain direction of movement it can have. Yeah. Could it be the Start G code? It could definitely be your Start G code. Are you running your Start G code as a Start G code macro on your printer, or are you running your Start G code as a G code coming from your slicer? That's something I would ask next. Let's see here. Get a look at that heater install. Sure, give me a second here. Let me get this last one in so I can make some progress. Say heater install, I assume you're talking about the one on the back of the bed. Just give me a second here. And once I get these on, we'll talk about, or I can show you my heater install. Nothing special about it, unless you're talking about the wiring. I guess that's a little special. But let me grab my little crescents here. My little C's. And I'm just going to grab that. give that a good little tweaking here. So another tip I would give everybody if you're building and you haven't built a ton is just keep in mind you're dealing with M3s mostly, and you don't really need the Gorilla Grip on them. They won't hold up very well. So tighten up reasonably tight, but don't go crazy. I think a lot of things happen. People go crazy with this stuff. All right, so talk about this. Let's see, what are you talking about? Here install could be yes, Z drive. Yes, he has it in a Z drive video, I think. SPAD heater install. Slicer. Okay, so I personally don't. I don't have my star code in my slicer. My slicer basically calls on a macro that's in Klipper already. I don't know if everybody does it that way. I'm gonna guess not, but that's the way I do it. It's the way I learned how to do it. I think the majority of people do it that way. And I will tell you the reason why I do it that way is so you can have multiple printers that have similar qualities and not have to have multiple printers necessarily in your slicer, and then just have different star code in your printer depending on what that printer is. So, you know, it allows you to do some things you wouldn't have to do. So I know it's difficult and you can't kind of show us all here what's in your star code in your slicer, but if you could give us some of the G commands that are running in your slicer. You know, you're probably running a G28, you're probably running a G90, and you're probably doing some M commands or something in there. Give us an idea what you're doing and what order those are. That might be helpful as well. It still doesn't explain to me though why you're crashing into your end stops, because your end stop's not working, shouldn't have anything to do with your star code. Yes, what you're working on at the moment, a good look, what I'm looking at. Okay, good look at what you're looking at. Let me change camera views real quick. And I will remind you again, I am not a building channel on the live streams, but more than happy to share. So this is not the nicest ever, but this is what happens when I put together a bed. So I got the Keenovo 500 watt on my 300 bed. Basically, you know, clean the bed. What I actually do is I actually sand the bed with a I think it was a 400 grit, maybe a 200 grit sandpaper. Clean the bed with isopropyl alcohol, clean the bed a second time with isopropyl alcohol, and then basically insert or attach the bed, starting to peel back, and it is in a video, but we'll go over it. Start to peel back the backer on the bed as I work it down to make sure there's no air bubbles. I think it's very important that you don't have air bubbles when you attach a heater on a bed. Some people could argue that. But if you do have air bubbles on in between your bed and your heater, we all know that you know, warm air expands versus cold air, which contracts or condenses. So if you have a heater and it's heating a bed and you have air pockets, it's going to make a bubble, and that bubble is going to get larger over time. Once that was on there, 100% rolled out nice and smooth. This is RTV silicone high temp. This is actually a new stuff I tried using. This was, I think, a 5 or 15 minute time on it. It was made by that P company that I don't recall what's called right now. Purex or Pure, anyways, I'm sure somebody knows and they'll write it. This is the thermal thermal fuse that's on here. This one is a 135 degrees Celsius fuse. I have 110, 135, 150, but this one right here happens to be the 135. It is attached with a screw. It also has behind it some thermal paste, so it is making a very good bond to the bed. There's a ground wire here and a wire loom that I made right here, and these are ferrules that are crimped on the ends of my wires. So, and I know the chat's kind of in the way there, but there's that. Let's see, any other questions about that? Let me get back here in the chat real quick. Let's see here, Slicer, moment good, yes. If I hit home, all axes hit correct. Okay, good, and it doesn't jam up. It's a good idea there, Woody, to have them center it. Pro DIY, I think Discord would be a good avenue to help troubleshoot Skyrim. I do think the Discord would be a very good place to help Skyrim. If Rich, First Layer Rich, if you're here, go ahead and throw that in. It is also already in the description of this video, the Discord information to join there. But that's definitely some place where that could happen. Also would allow some pictures and maybe some more information, so that'd be good too. And my email is also everywhere, but I kind of want a group thing here. Skyrim's been sending me, little bits of information here and there. It's kind of difficult exactly what's going on, but we're just trying to help out. Let's see here. Woody to the rescue there with a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to skip over most of that. And then incredibly, the heater install looks great. Air bubbles are bad. Not only heat exchange to metal, but really looks good. Oh, Permatex, that is correct, is the silicone company. Thank you for that. Sounds like a motion problem. Should move out in the Y direction. Yes, Permatex. I guess you know exactly what it is. Did you look that up, or did you have it on top of your head there? I'd be impressed. Impressed either way, because I couldn't think of Permatex anyways. But Discord doesn't have a limitation on text characters. Yes, this chat does though. Rich, thank you for that Discord information. Oh, automotive guide, that explains it. That explains it. Okay. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna go back over to the camera here. I can't even use my Stream Deck when I do this because I have a separate setup for my chat because of the, wherever the heck that is, that thing over there on the side, which some people find annoying, but some people need. All right, so that's there. I'm gonna set this aside now. And I'm gonna put in, and I've already done this before, but again, it's where we're at. We're gonna put this back together. This being the kinematics mount system. Yeah. All right, let me get this straight. I gotta remember how this goes. I believe that's gonna wind up there. This one's gonna wind up around here, and this guy is gonna wind up back here. And I also believe that my print head's gonna be in my way. You know what? We're gonna plug this thing in real quick. We're gonna plug this thing in real quick and pull that bed up. Well, actually the bed's gonna stay where the heck it wants to be, which is down bottom. We're gonna pull the gantry up though. Let's see here. We'll grab this. So that's another odd thing about me is I like to run my printers on Ethernet. I much prefer that versus running them via Wi-Fi. I think they work fine on Wi-Fi, but my preference is to do them via Ethernet. Files transfer quicker, just less prone for issues in general. I actually try to run everything I can on Ethernet in the house if it's possible. Just better. Actually, while we're talking about the house and Ethernet, turn that on. Let's see if anybody knows what this is. Does anybody know what this is? I mean, I know what this is, but I want to know if anybody knows what this is. It's kind of a test. It's a test, if you will, for different content on the channel. Let me know if you know what this is. But, if you know what that symbol is, if you know what this is, I know you're probably gonna guess it's a Raspberry Pi case, but do you know what kind of Raspberry Pi case that is? What that thing is? Robert's got it already. Good for you, Robert. Bob knew it was a Pi case. Jose knows it's a Pi case. Pi case, Pi case, Pi case. You guys are all right there. Jose is correct too. So Robert and Jose, do either one of you guys use Home Assistant? Cheers, Jose. Do either one of you guys use Home Assistant? And if you do, how do you like it? And do you have any interest in seeing some content about Home Assistant? There's going to... Doesn't see the bed. This thing just went full bore because it's not seeing the thermistor for the bed. you guys interested in all in seeing some Home Assistant type stuff on the channel. And I asked that because this printer is going to be integrated with my Home Assistant in some ways. But also, I love Home Assistant. It's one of my other hobbies, and just want to know what kind of interest there is out there. And for you guys that don't know what Home Assistant is, it's a home automation platform that runs kind of like, I guess you'd say Clipper does, in terms of the fact that it runs on a small computer and does stuff. Let's see here. Speaking of Permatex, their ceramic extreme brake pad parts lubricant numbered, you know all the numbers? Could be a solution for lube on bearings and carriage for a high temp printer. Does it have any moly in that? Incredible, because I know, because I did it, but I actually, at one point in time, I was going to use some assembly paste to do some stuff that had some moly in it, and it's not good for the bearings, I guess. So that would be my first question on that, because I'm not familiar with that product. Mark Davis, Home Assistant, yes, correct. I will shortly, Jose says, about Home Assistant. I use a laptop instead of Raspberry Pi. That works. I use Alexa for a Home Assistant. Does that count? It does. If you add Home Assistant to Alexa, you open up a whole new realm of things you can do. Alexa will only take you so far. What Home Assistant does is, well, one of the things Home Assistant does is it will take different platforms and then bring them together so you can automate them to other things. Like, for instance, I can tell my Alexa, oh, now it's making light colors. There we go. I muted that. I can tell the thing over there to turn off my my porch lights, and it'll do it. Or when you heard her say that my dog was leaving the home area, that was because my dog has a Fi collar that basically knows when the dog's in the yard or not. And basically the Fi collar tells my Home Assistant what's going on, and the Home Assistant sends a message to all my Alexas in my house to say that message. So that actually, it works very well together. Just throwing that out there. What'd you miss? Po' boy, you missed everything. We actually built 14 printers. We made 6 drones. We crashed 7 drones. I don't know how that happened. And we've been talking about you left and right. It's all been good. Don't worry about it. If people snicker in the background, pay no attention to them. Looking to switch from Smart Things. So Mark Davis, I went from Smart Things to Habitat to Home Assistant, and Home Assistant by far has been the best for me. Robert, I use Habitat. Now you're saying Habitat, but I'm likely switching. I like Habitat due to no internet requirement. Home Assistant doesn't require an internet either, but unlike Habitat, which set up a paywall like a year ago or something, if you want to hit it from the outside, you can get around that with Home Assistant, do it yourself. It's community built, so you're not dealing on a third party to work with it. My son talks to his house all the time. Does the house talk back to him? I have thermostat, light bulbs, bedroom, living room. How smart. Just popped in to say hi. Need to get some sleep. See ya. Jose, have a wonderful evening. Go to sleep. We'll all be here tomorrow waiting for you. And if we're not, you might want to look out for us. We might be on a plane to come see you. How's this? Looks purple, translucent color. I would probably buy that Permatex just for that reason. Fi is a Google Fi cellular service. I have Google Fi, but no, Fi is also a dog collar that has GPS in it. So if you lose your dog and can't find where that HE double hockey sticks he is, it will tell you where he is or she is. But I do like both Fis. I have Google Fi, it's great, yes. I have Google Fi too. It helps me when I go to Canada. I have friends and family in Canada, and it doesn't cost me a dime to call there or call from there back here or use data on there. It's awesome for that type of stuff. I do not have Google Fiber Internet. I am very jealous. You must leave now. I have to pay Spectrum outrageous amounts of money for dribbles of internet. I would like that content. Awesome. Joe, good to hear. Sawyer's grilling out with the family at 8 o'clock at night. Man, sounds the whole house is a Lutron. Okay, yeah. Lutron, actually, you can bring in the home assistant as well, so you could bring in non-Lutron devices to control some of your Lutron stuff, which is really nice. Thanks, my Great Danes like to run off every now and again. Great Danes are about the size of horses, so they're easy to spot, I imagine. But yeah, so Fi collars are pretty cool for that. It's Fi, just like the Google Fi. I use Active Home Pro X. I haven't heard X10 in forever. Oh my God, you're bringing it back. For the pool and some lights around the house. I use my combination of my Alexas, my phone, and Home Assistant to do a lot of those things. Down to this printer right here is actually going to be using a ESP32, and I'm going to use some of the I/O outputs that I'm not using on the MCU, possibly the Raspberry Pi, to basically send notifications either to my Alexa, my phone, or even to control some lights and some other things around the house to let me know when a print maybe has failed or when a print's completed. So we can do that. We have the power. I'm taking an upgrade, 5 gig down. Yeah, keep rubbing it in, buddy. Keep rubbing it in. Robert too, you keep rubbing it in, both of you. Have a good night, Skyrim. Have a good night as well. Do join that Discord and throw some information in there. It wouldn't hurt my feelings at all if you threw your whole star code in there, and we'll pick away at it. Trust me. There's no reason why your printer shouldn't be working. We should be able to get that working for you. Let's see, back at you. It was around 7 inches, I kind of got sidetracked. I will. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I actually care. Trust me, Skyrim. If I had all the time in the world, I would give everybody my cell phone number, but I don't. I wish I did. I barely have enough time to build printers. So anyways, all right, so back to the printer. I hooked up my thermistor so I could... I do feel like I'm in the Stone Age, and I have to pay for it. I pay $100 a month for my internet service, and it's not fast. I mean, it's not slow, but it's not fast. You're upsetting me. It's not nice. Let's see here. Where is my printer? Just half-ass. Yeah. Well, I pay more than you and I get less than you. There's 3D printer inequality here in the United States. I mean, not 3D printer. There's internet inequality here in the United States. Let's see here. For some reason, I believe. Either my printer isn't starting up for some reason, which would be really odd, since it's been working fine for a long time now. I really need to get going on finishing it up, or my lease has changed on my router because I didn't make it static yet, which I thought I did. So I'm looking real quick to see what is going on. What is this? Not 164. Why? Let me see if I can ping it here. Command ping 192.168.1.164. Unreachable. Why is that? Guess it isn't going to cooperate here. Let's see here. Just half past. Yeah, I'm ProView to. Oh, there we go. Then again, Internet bought City Fiber Network for $1. So yeah. Make something. You're all set. Yeah, yeah, it was all set. I think my Ethernet cable was loose because it's always the stupid things that get me All right, so you guys are all familiar with this. It's mainsail. If you're not familiar with this, you're probably familiar with this other thing called fluid. So anyways, I'm just gonna raise up my bed here real quick. And before I do that, I probably have to home this thing. Let's see, what's going on? What's going on? Token fell out of the token ring. All right, now we're getting way too networky. We can tell who does IT for a living. We can also tell how old people are by talking about token, by the way. Let's see here. Z up 25, up 25, up 25. Keep going, buddy. And I feel like I'm playing that game show. Stop. No whammies, no whammies. That type of thing, right? All right. All right. Let's see here. Systems engineer, bro. I could tell because you're talking about token and token ring. I haven't heard token or token ring ever since coaxial Ethernet went away. 10 base T. But that also shows age, right? So anyway, if you get stuck on your network, I can help you on Discord. Reach out. No whammies. Exactly, no whammies. I do pretty good networking stuff. It's not my day job, but it's part of my it's one of the hats I wear. If you want to help me solve a multicast testing issue, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Incredible DIY. I am having issues finding a tool to do some of that. The tools that we did use are no longer available. The Nortel network ones are gone. Everything seems to be gone with that, and we're having some issues saying we're actually doing, now we're talking about my work. We're actually working on trying to set up some multicast traffic over multiple IP hops that are connected or interconnected via microwave in a ring topography, so that basically if any portion of the ring breaks, it's redundant. So if you have a good tool for testing multicast, I would be interested in that. ArcNet, yeah. Possibly. Yeah. Okay, so back to this here. Now I got this out of my way, which is good because I can see what I'm doing. 3 different points of mounting here. One of these guys, this guy right here, is going to wind up here. And these are the roller portion of this, which is going to be over here. The other one, trying to remember which one's which here. Trying to remember which one's which. I believe I'm gonna have to probably open up the manual. I'm gonna get the manual open here for this. Let's see here. Typing as fast as my little fingers will go. Okay, Mandela Rose works. I gotta remember where each of these go. I think the problem is too, I don't recall them having really good instructions here. So there's that. Let's see here. Download 3, print 1, Kamiak, center brace. Yep. How about instructions? No instructions. All right, trying to remember in which order. I might have to go look at one of my old videos. Wouldn't that be fun? Let's do that. Let me go to YouTube. That's what everybody does now, right? When they need information, they go to Build a Basement on the YouTube, right? Probably not, but wishful thinking. Let's see here. Let's see, kinematics bed mounts. Let's look here and I'll share with you guys what we're doing here. Joe, I couldn't find instructions. I looked at your video. Rolls on your left. Yes, it is on my left. I recall it being over there, but I gotta make 100% sure. You already got your bed going on that printer? You just sent me the picture of those parts like 2 days ago. How fast are you zooming through that thing? All right, so what my question is, and that I don't recall, is there's two of these guys right here, and they're exactly the same, only one's thicker than the other one, and I don't recall which one's which. I think the thicker one goes on the back because the magnet that goes onto that one is got a bevel inside of it. And this one does not. It's flat to the top. So I am 99% sure this is how it goes, and it's the way I'm going to do it anyways, because why not? If we're going to make mistakes, we might as well do it in front of a bunch of people. Let's see here. Gotta go for a bit. Have VP call me and need some help. Hopefully we see you back. If not, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you coming by. Mark Davis, it's been good using videos a lot for my 2.4. Thanks for posting content. No problem. Anytime, Mark. I appreciate you watching the streams and watching the videos and everything you've done for me as well. It's been great. I'm at the heater bed installation off of trips until Friday. Like you, I'm busy, so gotta get in when I can. Yeah. Life is busy. That's for sure. Let's see here. Not that I want everybody to scatter, and not that I've actually gotten anything done today, but probably in about another 15-20 minutes or so, we're probably going to shut this down. I'm probably going to continue to put this together, and then I'll have a video with testing on this with the tap, with the Kinematics bed. But I want to get back over to the question, or at least partially talk about the question that came up that Joe had, because I feel like I'm holding Joe up from his build at this point, because he's obviously a quick builder. So we're talking about tools. So and Joe's already built a few printers, so this is more for other people than him, I think. But he makes a good point that people just don't know. If you're just starting to build a printer, you're thinking about building a printer, the first tools you need to have, and there could be difference of opinions here, are basically a device that you can look at the manual on, or a printed version of the manual of the printer you're building. That's the very first tool you need to have. That, along with a notepad, or if you do have a printed version, a good place to write down some notes and make notes about what you're doing, because you're going to find things in the printer that don't necessarily make sense to you, or you're going to find things that you do slightly different than what the notes say, because every printer is a little bit different, and every build is a little bit different, and every manufacturer, whether you source your parts individually or if you buy a kit, is always going to have a little bit of difference. So the second thing I would make sure you have if you're building a printer, and especially if it's one of your first printers, is if you buy a kit from a manufacturer like LDO or something like that, get all the information, all the documentation that they have available for the printer as well, and then basically you want to interweave that with the build manual for the actual printer. I use Foxit Reader for my PDF reader on my computer, and when I go into with like an LDO build, and I go through, and it will say specifically, usually in section blah blah blah, please refer to this. So I would go to that part of the actual not the LDO, the Voron build manual, and then basically I would type in the top of it, see LDO notes. So as soon as I got to that page on the PDF, I would know to go back to the LDO notes and not necessarily try to find the 35 millimeter M5 screw that is not anywhere near with my kit, because it didn't come with it, because the LDO kit doesn't come with that, because they do something slightly different. So those are the very, very, very basic things, and those are the silly things, but those are a couple things I want to mention. Beyond that, I think everybody should have a decent pair of calipers. They don't need to be $1,000. You can get a relatively decent pair of calipers for $35 to $45 that will do what you need them to do. I think those are good to have. I really am a strong proponent of having a good square. I think a good square is very important when you're building your frame. I also think that you probably should strongly consider getting either a piece of granite or Corian, or even a 24 by 24 tile, before you build a printer. When you're building a frame, I think it's very important to have a very flat surface to do that. I built my first printer ever without a flat surface. I mean, I had a flat surface, but it wasn't overly flat. And it took a lot more tweaking to get it just right. So, yep. I'm stealing it. Okay, so stealing my tips. Well, yeah, I go an hour and a half, I start getting parched. So there's that. I think everybody should have a decent pair of wire strippers. These ones are Pro Kit, or Pros Kit. They're very cheap. You can get them on Amazon. I will put a link in my description for these. I got these on Amazon. I think they're 10 bucks. Let's see here. I think everybody should. So here's a big one. If you're building a printer, whether you self-source or you buy a kit, be prepared to do some crimping. So wherever you buy your kit from, and this is just an example, but either wherever you buy your kit from, or from Amazon, or from AliExpress, or whatever, get additional pins, male and female, and additional connectors, because not only are you going to mess up, before you even mess up, you should do some practice crimping. Grab some 22, 24 gauge wire, practice your wire stripping, and practice your crimping, because it's great to be able to do it after, you know, your 5th or 6th try. But when you only have 3.5 inches of wire and you need at least 3 inches of wire, and you have to try to crimp something on there 3 times, you're gonna be really stressed. In terms of crimpers, for your first start out crimpers, these will make do. These are iWise. They are single. They do the, and I actually suggest these for people starting off. The reason why I suggest these for people starting off is because these crimp, you know, are usually a crimp has 2 pieces. It has a crimp that goes to the sheathing of the wire, and then also to the wire. The reason why I say this is because if you use these, you can crimp to the wire first, and you can test that crimp to make sure it's secure, and then crimp to the sheathing of the wire. And the reason that's important is you could have a good crimp to the sheathing of the wire and not necessarily have a good crimp to the wire on the inside of it, which means that you would have a wire that looks like it's okay, but possibly does not work properly. So for starting off, even if they're a little bit harder to use, I think it's a good way to go. Once you get more proficient, you can get a ratcheting crimper. They're a little bit more money, but yeah. Outside of that, and I'm not going to go too deep, I'm going to talk about maybe 2 more things, is a decent set of drivers. These are the, I always mispronounce this, but Waiha. These are very nice. I believe these are either German or Japanese. I think they're German, I forget. But a good set of those that go anywhere from like a 2, you know, a 2, a 2.5, a 3, I guess a 4, a 5, good to have. And then the last 2 things I'm going to talk about for starter out is flush cuts. There's a bunch of different names for these. One of them I can't say because I'll probably get demonetized, but those are good to have. And then last but not least is a deburring tool. And this will save you a lot of times when you're first printing off. If you're trying to print your Voron parts on a Ender printer and you're using a big skirt or something like that, this will allow you to use that skirt and still clean up your parts and have a nice looking part when you get done with it. Those are the basic parts that I would start off with 100%. And there are other parts there are other tools I would definitely add to that list, but that's a good start, and I won't go too much deeper than that because I don't want to waste a bunch of time. Let's see here. Great stream tonight, my friend, but I gotta run. Rich, you have a wonderful night. It's only 7 o'clock, by the way, so I don't know what you're doing, but hopefully you're doing well. Let's see here. Incredible DIY is already back. We didn't leave. You're back. Cool. All right, so we'll talk about a couple more tools, I guess. And I'm going to end this out as well. And these go into, and I'm going to mention this, and it's going to seem funny to some people, but a good set of reamers and a good set of tappers And you might be telling yourself or saying to yourself, why do I need reamers and tappers if I buy a kit? I will tell you, so this is a reamer right here, this guy. Basically, it's like a fluted drill bit, sort of, only it's very straight. This is a tapper, so that basically will cut threads into plastic or metal. And don't forget, it does cut threads into plastic, even though plastic threads don't hold up very well, but it does. The reason why I think most people should have these, whether they're self-sourcing or not, is one, if you're drilling your own extrusions, you're going to want to drill them and you want to ream them real quick to make sure you get everything out of them, and then you're going to have to tap them anyways. If you buy a kit, there is a 95% chance that all your holes will be properly drilled, properly cleaned out, and properly tapped, but there's a 5% chance, give or take, that you will find that you have a hole that is not properly tapped or isn't tapped far enough, and that 10 millimeter screw that you're trying to put in it just hits and you don't have a good connection. And being able to fix that is very nice. Yeah, so the reamers, and these ones came from KB3D. I talk about Chris over at KB3D quite a bit because I get a lot of stuff from Chris. And when I say get, I mean I buy. Chris has never sent me anything for free. The only free thing Chris ever did for me is when I was assisting with Rich to do his dedication build. The LDO kit bed I had, I did not use, and Chris offered for me to ship the bed to him. He paid for the shipping to him, and he shipped the bed up to Rich, so I didn't have to deal with trying to ship to Canada. You can make it, you know what they say, you can make it anything fit with enough force. That is true. If Rich was here, I'd talk about the Canadian hammer. And that was me making fun of him using a tape measure to pound some things together one day. I called it his Canadian hammer. So, yeah. All right. Let's do something here. So anyways, I'm going to get this... Oh, I got to talk about my gotcha. So last stream I had a gotcha and people like that. I forget who it was. It was probably somebody that's on here right now. And my gotcha last stream was about the NeoPixels and the fact that some people over time have issues with them not actually having the proper color on them, or the colors changing or not changing when they change them in the GUI. And it came out that there sometimes is an interference issue that you can solve with a 200 to 300 ohm resistor in line on the signal wire that goes into your NeoPixels as close as possible to them. So installed one with the signal wire, comes directly into the afterburner, and then basically heat shrink that over so it's just slightly thicker than wire in one place. Hopefully it stands up. There's no bends where that happens, but that was my last week one. This week, I'm going to finish off with this. I went with the Waveshare. Let me get this right. This is the 5.5 inch Waveshare AMOLED HDMI touchscreen, capacitance touchscreen. It's a very nice screen. So the issue I had was I could not rotate the screen. So by default from the manufacturer, the screen has a vertical or a portrait landscape to it. And it wouldn't come out of there. There's a button on the back here to change that for the touches from different, you can change it 90 degrees at a time by holding down a button, but there's no hardware way on the screen to rotate that screen. So, and let me actually, did I turn this off again? Yeah, I must turn it off. So I can't really show it to you unless I have a web browser still open someplace else here. Let me see what I have. Nope. Actually, I can show you this right here just as a talking point while I do it. So I found this person right here. They're running the same screen. It was a Waveshare 5.5 inch HDMI AMOLED screen, and they had to add this to their config.txt on their printer which is basically in your PuTTY, getting in there and doing sudo nano to the printer to the config.txt for the Raspberry Pi. And right here is the problem. And I'm cutting to the chase here pretty quick, but and I'm more than open for questions if you run into the same issue now that I know how to fix it. But basically right here, display HDMI underscore, display underscore HDMI underscore rotate equals 1. So that command, the display HDMI rotate equals, is a command to rotate the screen in either 90, 180, or flip it over completely, a bunch of commands like that. But just like it says right here, it does not work with the Raspberry Pi 4, but nobody tells you why it doesn't work with the Raspberry Pi 4. The rest of all this information is good information, the timings you had to do, all that. This is actually the information I needed to make my screen work, but it was still improperly, it was in portrait mode. So this guy went in and he basically went through and had a script to basically rotate the whole GUI for Clipper Screen. And it works, but he admits that it's really hacky. So I'm not a big fan of really hacky things that I want to work consistently. So I did some more digging, I did some more digging, I did some more digging, and I don't have it up right here. But what I will tell you, this is a gotcha. What I will tell you in the end, what it came down to is that basically the Raspberry Pi 4 has a graphics accelerator in it. And if you disable that graphics accelerator, then the rotate screen commands actually work. For Clipper Screen, you do not need a graphics accelerator. It's not very graphic intense. So by disabling that graphics accelerator, then you can actually rotate the screen in that config.txt file. Everything works properly. You don't have to mess with the config file for the actual Clipper Screen or anything like that, or run any batch files or anything like that. So that was my gotcha. It was basically disabling the 3D acceleration or the graphics acceleration on the Raspberry Pi 4 so that the rotate command basically would take effect and would actually work. So that was an oddball one, and it's not really part of the stream, so no one's gonna be able to find it, but hopefully telling you guys, actually about a dozen people or so on here right now, spread the word. If you somebody having that issue, by all means let them know, and I'm more able to answer more questions about that. Awesome, Joe. I'm glad I helped at least one person. I'm glad it was you. So let's see. Incredible. Say you can make anything fit. Yep. I use socket wrench for pounding in from time to time. I've done that. I've also used these for pounding stuff in once in a while. I've used a piece of wood. It all works. Spread the work, don't hack. Spread the work, don't hack. Can you spread the word? Anyways, all right, so that is my gotcha for the week. And Joe, you know how to get a hold of me if you need more information than that. I'm not necessarily the guy that wants to tell everybody how to do everything, but having the information that will point you in a direction on how to do it, I think is more important, because then you remember and you learn it. But if you do want more information on that, get a hold of me. I will provide all that information. But that's my gotcha for the week. Let's see here. I've had some problems with Hyperpixel 4. Probably could have addressed things with your gotcha. Yes, possibly. I can't answer for sure. Sorry, I have typos. Word, not work. I agree. Yep, I have typos too all the time. I just try to get stuff out so quick. Sometimes I don't even care. And if it's just going to me, I definitely don't care. Joe, you know what to do. Awesome. Okay, guys. So drag this one out. It's about an hour 42 in, and I've had a lot of fun. If anybody has any other comments or anything else they want to throw up into the chat next minute or so, after that, we're going to clear it out. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for stopping in and having a little chat session with me. Just like every other time, you guys are what makes this stream happen, these live streams. I will continue to do them. I can't guarantee they're going to be weekly. I will, again, mention I did get monetized on my YouTube channel, so if you ever want to help out, that's great. I have channel memberships. There are some perks on those memberships that I'm going to work on making perkier, I guess. I do have a few t-shirts that made up. Oh, I gotta show you some of that. Let me show you that real quick. don't buy them unless you actually want them. Don't do it for me. Do it if you actually want one of these t-shirts. But let me show you something real quick. I think these are fun. Hopefully nobody thinks I'm mean or anything like that. But hold on real quick here. Let me show you something. Let me get to my channel. I've made up a couple t-shirts. Some of them are friends of the Builder Basement. It was kind of lame, honestly. But some, I'll see here, store. And yeah, so let me show you this real quick. I think this is kind of cool. Let's see here. So on my channel, I've got some sweatshirts. I've got this actual mouse pad. I got that mouse pad. But sweatshirts, t-shirts, things like that. But when I show you these are some ones that I came up with. I think they're kind of cool. I think I was kind of slick coming up with these. I did them on my own. So these are available in different colors, but this one says, it's got the Voron logo on it, and it says core values because of a core XY, and it says XY till the day I die. I thought that was kind of cool, came up with it. If you're into wearing some type of gear that makes you, brings you in. This one right here, some people might think it's a little mean, but I'll show it anyways. I have much love for Prusa, but sorry Prusa, I ain't got time for that. And a Voron logo. Again, I love Prusa. I think they're a great company. I think they do awesome things, but I think that's pretty good. And then I have my Playa shirt. I'm a Playa, true to the print game. So just a couple catchy things. I'm gonna come up with some more over time. If you're interested in that stuff, they are available in the store on there. Credible DIY, thank you for that. Again, nobody needs to give me anything. I will continue to do these even if nobody's giving me anything at all. The only thing that does help is to pay for my overpriced internet, and it's your fault. So thank you for that. Yes, yeah, hey, almost forgot the thumbs up. Yes, do give me a thumbs up. That helps the streams, it helps the channel, and that also helps me probably more than anything else. Poor boy's here, or not here, maybe he is here, I don't know, but he didn't say anything about doing the thumbs up, and he normally does that all over the place. So if you haven't done it and you're still here, do that. Let's see. Do it right, go and go big, Voron. It's not a bad t-shirt. I'll make it up. I'll make a t-shirt that says that. Why not, right? I'm all about it. All right, guys, one last time. Appreciate you coming by. Leave me a comment on this stream if you have any questions. Leave me a comment on the screen if you have any suggestions. Send me an email, leave a comment if you have anything that you'd like to see in the next upcoming live stream or in any videos. Next videos are going to come out, probably going to be the testing of this kinematics mount with the CNC tap. I'm very impressed by the CNC tap, by the way. I'm going to be putting some panels on this to finish this thing up. I'm going to get my clipper screen actually mounted on here. That might be a separate stream, and I'm also going to be building the kit that Woody sent me. Let's see. I did when I first stepped in. I guess you're still here. I love how people just pop in. All right, man. Hey, I've had a blast. I hope you guys have enjoyed it too. If you need anything, let me know. You guys got my email. You guys got the comments here, and of course the Discord that's been on here a couple times. It's also in the description down below. I'll jump into Discord for a couple minutes after this, but I am getting tired. Again, I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and hopefully you guys spread the word, not only about the channel, but anything you learn here to help out others. And I'll see you soon. See you later.